This video or series of videos is going to go out to the vinyl community. Most of my videos are fish keeping videos, but the vinyl community on YouTube has pulled me in. I've got a big collection, and so one of the things about vinyl records, and I guess you could say 45s too, that make them different from a lot of the different types of ways to listen to music, and one of the things that makes the vinyl community so great, is that we had to make a choice. Which side of the record were we going to play? Now you could play both sides, of course, but you had to make that choice. And so this series of videos that I'm going to do, I'm calling The Perfect Side. Now, little ground rules here. No compilation albums, no live albums that were previously released as studio, no... I'm also going to avoid using records I've used in previous videos. But this is a pretty tough thing to do, to figure out a perfect side. Because we have, music is all subjective. We all have our different favorites and what we really like and how we like for bands to play and that sort of thing, what genre they're in. But we have a favorite song. We go out and we buy the album and we listen to that side with our favorite song on it over and over and over again until the point that we are not as objective about what is a perfect side, in the sense of all these other songs on that side. While we love the hit, or we love the several hits, sometimes there are songs on sides with hits on them that don't really match up with the rest of the songs, and it prevents it from being a perfect side, in my opinion. And so I'm going to do 4 sections to try to get to my top perfect side albums, and I'm calling them Pretenders, Contenders, Defenders, and Game Enders. And this section is the Pretenders. The first album on my Pretenders list is a Kinks album, Something Else by the Kinks. A lot of people say the Beatles are the best group from that era. A lot of people say the Rolling Stones are the best group from that era. A lot of people love the Kinks just as much as the Stones and the Beatles, and with good reason. And this is a reprise, and the side I'm doing has David Watts, Death of a Clown, Two Sisters, No Return, Harry Rag, Tin Soldier, Situation Vacant. And the one song on this side, Harry Rag, which incidentally is about rolling a joint, is the song that makes it not a perfect side for me. This is a reprise record. The old reprise label. And it's an excellent record. I would highly recommend it to anybody. The next one up, and these are in no particular order, is Sean Phillips, Bright White. And this is an amazing album. And the side that I love the most, that I have played over and over and over again, is the side with Lasting Peace of Mind, Technotronic Lad, Dream Queen, It's a Beautiful Morning, and Lady of the Blue Rose. Sean Phillips is one of those people that doesn't get enough credit for how excellent his work is. And the one song on this record, on this side, that I think falls short of a little of the others is Dream Queen, the old AM records. And that's the only reason it's not making it further up my list. This is a great album. Sean Phillips is someone everyone should check out. It may not be your cup of tea. This album, some people actually say this is the best album ever recorded. I'm not so sure that I feel that strongly about it, but I'm a huge Stanley Clarke fan. And Journey to Love is an excellent album. And I'm doing the side with Silly Putty, Journey to Love, Hello Jeff, and Song to John. Now, there are some amazing players on this album. You just have to check it out to see who's all on there. And Song to John, Part 1, is probably the weakest song on that side. And it's the reason that I'm not letting it carry on further. John McLaughlin plays on this. Jeff Beck plays on this. This is an incredible album. And, you know, this is Nikkor Records. Excellent. Stanley Clarke is someone, you know, he was into a lot of fusion and funk and rock and roll, but definitely something that should be checked out. This album I have listened to over and over and over and over again. I mean, really. It's Quincy Jones' Mellow Madness, and it is an incredible album. The side 2, Just a Little Taste of Me, My Cherie Amour, with Hubert Laws on it, Minnie Riperton singing backup vocals, Trying to Find Out About You, Cry Baby with Wah Wah Watson, and Bluesette with Toots Thielemans is an incredible side. And the only song on the side that falls a little short for me is Cry Baby. But some other people might pass this on into the later rounds, and I can see why. This is a fantastic album. Quincy Jones was more a behind-the-scenes person, but Mellow Madness is just excellent, excellent, excellent. Another great list of players on it. This guy was a founding member of Sha Na Na, Henry Gross. And this album is Plug Me Into Something. And this was like his 3rd or 4th album. I think it's an AMA. Yeah, AM. I'm doing the side All My Love, Only One, Evergreen, Dixie, Spider-Man, Tomorrow's Memory Lane. This guy can crank on a guitar. And his singing, his high voice singing was... he played on all kinds of stuff after he left Sha Na Na. Yeah. Some of it's not coming to mind right now, but he played with some really great people on some really great albums. And Only One is the song that I'm picking as the weaker song on this side. And it's not really that weak of a song. Just incredible, incredible, incredible album. And one that's not very well known. Henry Gross kind of toiled in obscurity. These guys, Average White Band, Cut the Cake. And I'm doing the side, Cut the Cake, Schoolboy Crush, It's a Mystery, Groovin' the Night Away, If I Ever Lose This Heaven. All of them are really good songs, but It's a Mystery is probably slightly different than the rest and probably falls short. These guys were blue-eyed funk and soul back when maybe it wasn't even cool to be blue-eyed funk and soul, but they're from Scotland and their music is incredible. They played on all kinds of stuff, the people in the group. Cut the Cake is a radio hit. But If I Ever Lose This Heaven and Schoolboy Crush, they were songs that made it into the top 25. But just the album Just Average White Band was probably more famous. But I think that's their best album. The Brothers Johnson, Looking Out for Number One. These guys played on that Quincy Jones album that I just showed. And I'm doing the side I'll Be Good to You, Thunder Thumbs and Lightning Licks, Get the Funk Out of My Face, Tomorrow, Free and Single. And probably Tomorrow and Free and Single are the weakest songs on that side. But this is just an incredible album. These guys hit the music world with a splash. They kind of faded after their first 2 or 3 albums. But, oh my God, the music these guys could play. An incredible list of people playing with them. Quincy Jones producing them. Incredible music. Incredible funk. Mr. Jimmy Buffett appearing in the Trials and Temptations of a Son of a Sailor. A Son of a Son of a Sailor. This album's incredible. I don't know. Jimmy Buffett may be an acquired taste. I don't think you have to be a parrot head to love Jimmy Buffett's music. Some of the songs on this side, Son of a Sailor, Pool Button, The Last Line, Livingston Saturday Night, and Cheeseburger in Paradise. That's the side I'm picking, but side 2 is almost as good. And probably Fool Button is the weakest song on this side that I'm picking. And it's enough to make me want to not push it through to the finals. But I've listened to this album over and over and over again. I pretty much wore it out. Way back when on Atlantic Records with a new record deal, Outlaw Country was born. And this is Willie Nelson, Shotgun Willie. And probably I'm doing side 1, Shotgun Willie, Whiskey River, Sad Songs and Waltzes, Local Memory, Slow Down Old World, Stay All Night, Stay a Little Longer. You might pick side 2 just as well, but Slow Down Old World is probably the weakest song on this album. And this is a promotional copy of the original printing from Atlantic. And I think this was 73. And that album kind of kicked off a whole era of country music that was kind of, Jerry Jeff Jones, Chris Christopherson, the Outlaw. This album is a bit of a unique thing. Stuff like this doesn't come around all the time, but the Blues Brothers. This album has some great songs on it. Let's see, I was doing side 2, Think, theme from Rawhide, Minnie the Moocher, Sweet Home Chicago, and Jailhouse Rock. And you can kind of say that it's a perfect album side in its own way, but I'm going to say that Think is weak enough. I mean, it's got Aretha Franklin on it, but I'm going to say that Think is weak enough to prevent it from pushing further. The original soundtrack. Great album. This is someone that doesn't get a lot of notoriety, kind of like Sean Phillips, but whose voice was incredible. This is Phoebe Snow. It Looks Like Snow. And The side I'm doing is Autobiography, Shine, 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 In My Girlish Days, Don't Let Me Down, My Faith is Blind, Drink Up the Melody, and Shaky Ground. I think the song that I find the weakest is Shaky Ground. I think that's on the side that I'm talking about. Yeah, Shaky Ground. Don't Let Me Down, Drink Up the Melody, Bite the Dust Blues, Fat Chance, maybe Fat Chance is weaker. My Faith is Blind, Shaky Ground. This is an incredible album by an incredible artist. And anybody that enjoys female voices in rock, blues, should give Phoebe Snow a listen. These guys, the Guess Who, Wheatfield Soul. I'm doing These Eyes, Pink Wine Sparkles in the Glass, I Found Her in a Star, and Friends of Mine. And Friends of Mine has always been one of my favorite songs. It's incredible how it plays and how it works. Pink Wine Sparkles in the Glass is the song that I'm going to pick as the weakest, although there's great musical interest in that song as well. A really incredible album, RCA. The Guess Who have kind of come and gone, they're passé, but man, they made some great music. This album, I actually wore 2 copies of this album out. And I hated the song, and I loved the song. Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog. 3 Dog Night, Naturally. And I guess if I had to pick a song on that side, Sunlight. Sunlight is probably the song that's the weakest, and it's a really good song. But for some reason, I'm just not pushing this through. I'm not sure exactly why. I may be just looking for a reason not to push it through. A great album, a great musician, has put out some of the best work ever done anywhere. Dave Mason, Headkeeper. And I'm doing side 1, To Be Free in My Mind. Here we go again. A Heartache, A Shadow, A Lifetime, and Headkeeper. Songs that are just incredibly good. And an album that is incredibly good. I'm going to pick A Heartache, A Shadow, A Lifetime as the weakest song on this side. And the reason why I'm not pushing this incredible album straight on through to the finals. Dave Mason made some stinkers, but he made some incredibly great, the groups he was in. This guy. I'm not much of a fan of his current politics or how he thinks about things anymore. But when he put this album out, George Thorogood and the Destroyers, Moving On, Over. Oh man, was this some incredible music. Moving On Over, Who Do You Love, The Sky Is Crying, Cocaine Blues, It Wasn't Me. And the only reason I can keep this from going through is It Wasn't Me. And it's a decent song. It's just not as good as the songs around it, in my mind. Uncle Meat Pennington, Billy Blow, Jeff Simon, and George Thorogood. Just smoking guitars. This album is probably going to cause a little controversy because it may be one of the best albums ever made. Again. Quick battery change. I'm doing my video, honey. These guys produce some incredible music. I wore this out when I first got it. Roxy Music, Siren, the 5th Roxy Music album. Atco Records. I'm doing the side with Love is the Drug, End of the Line, Sentimental Fool, and Whirlwind. And I guess I'm going to pick either End of the Line or Whirlwind is the reason that I don't push it on through. Brian Ferry is incredible. Brian Ferry, Andrew McKay, Paul Thompson, Phil Manzanera, Edwin Jobson, John Gustafson. Just incredible music. So different from all the stuff that was around it. There just wasn't anything else quite like this out at that time. And really stands out by itself. Great album. Definitely recommend it. Definitely an album that needed to be brought up in this context. A lot of people are not big jazz fusion fans, but it's something I've always loved. I love pure jazz. I love classic jazz, but I've always had a soft spot in my heart for fusion, jazz fusion. And this band, Weather Report, and this album, Mr. Gone, is one of my favorite albums of all times. And I'm doing the side with The Pursuit of the Woman with the Feathered Hat, River People, Young and Fine, and The Elders. And I guess the song that I'm going to pick as the weaker of the songs that doesn't push it straight through is The Elders. And maybe it's because in this one instance, Jaco Pastorius kind of gets out of hand. A lot of the members of the band, Zinwald and some of the others, kind of got tired of Jaco being such a showman, focusing the attention on him all the time when he was on stage. And every once in a while he did kind of get out of bounds a little bit. But The Pursuit of the Woman with the Feathered Hat is a song that's haunted me ever since I first heard it. It just comes up in my head at times. And Mr. Gone is an incredible Weather Report album and an incredible jazz fusion album. Probably should have gone further. In the same vein, Chick Corea, Tap Step. Now this album kind of got panned when it first came out. Not a lot of people really liked it. It's definitely in a fusion vein. It's a Warner Brothers album. And I guess I'm doing the side Magic Carpet, The Slide, Grandpa Blues, and Flamenco. And Magic Carpet and Grandpa Blues are just incredible songs. They make use of a lot of different kinds of sound. Stanley Clarke plays piccolo bass and talk box on Grandpa Blues, and it is incredible. And I guess if I had to pick one, I'm going to pick Flamenco as the weaker song on the side. You might make a case for it being The Slide, but I really love The Slide. And Chick Corea, piano, mini Moog 55, hand claps, Buddy Burnell, fretless bass, Tom Brechelin, drums, Joe Henderson, tenor sax, Hubert Laws, piccolo, Al Vizzuti, trumpet, and Joe Farrell, soprano sax. Just an incredible lineup of people and an incredible sound. And this came out in the 80s. Was just remarkable jazz fusion for the time. Like I said, it kind of got panned. Great album side. And please be aware that even though I'm calling these pretenders, that out of all the albums in my collection, these are albums that I thought worthy or potentially worthy of being a perfect side, and that's pretty high praise. I was working at a record store in Daytona Beach when this album came out. The Serpent is Rising, Styx. What an incredible splash it made. There just wasn't music like this being made right then. And these guys were just incredible. And I'm doing Tales, Winner Take All, 22 Years, Jonas Salter, The Serpent is Rising, Krakatoa, Hallelujah Chorus from Handel's Messiah. Just an incredible album side. And if I had to pick a weak song on it, and I think it qualifies, it's Jonas Salter is the one that makes me not push this album straight through. What incredible music. What rocking sound they produced. This album will be kind of controversial as far as it's probably a lot of people's favorite album. Harvest, Neil Young. And I'm doing the side with Old Man, There's a World, Alabama, The Needle and the Damage Done, and Words. And I guess I'm going to do There's a World as my weakest song on the side. Incredible stuff. The Stray Gators were Ben Keith, steel guitar, Kenny Buttery, drums, Tim Drummond, bass, Jack Nitschke, piano and slide guitar, John Harris, piano on Harvest, and a bunch of great people. David Crosby and Graham Nash were also on it. Nice gatefold. Incredible album. I'm probably nitpicking, not pushing it further. This album won this artist a Grammy, so you know it has to be a great album to have been chosen over all the others that were out at the same time. It's Emmylou Harris, Elite Hotel. An amazing, amazing, amazing album. Amarillo, Together Again, Feeling Single, Seeing Double, Sin City. I guess I'm going to pick one of these days, or maybe till I gain control again. Those two songs seem a little bit less than the others on that first side. Maybe it's just a overdose of steel pedal guitar by that point that causes it. But Emmylou Harris is an incredible artist and one that everyone should check out. And this album is just wonderful. This album is going to come kind of out of left field. But you have to consider that I grew up in the 50s and the 60s and was listening to my mother's musical choices. So I learned to love show tunes. I learned to love Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. I learned to love that that kind of musical vein. My wife's saying Burt Bacharach, and she's right. My mom loved it. But one of the things that I really enjoyed was going out and either seeing a live show or a movie of a live show and then enjoying the soundtrack. And this one still stands out in my mind, Camelot. And this is the one of the stage plays with Richard Burton and Julie Andrews. Although Julie Andrews didn't do all of the singing on the album. She did quite a bit, but not all of it. And there are some songs where she's listed as the singer and she isn't. But the song Camelot, I'm doing the side that has Camelot on it, Overture Parade, I Wonder What the King is Doing Tonight, The Simple Joys of Maidenhood, Camelot, Follow Me, C'est Moi, The Lusty Month of May, Then You May Take Me to the Fair. And I guess if I had to pick one, it would be The Simple Joys of Maidenhood. And it's a lot of spoken word in it, and it just doesn't quite come up to the rest of them. But this is an album that, because of my musical upbringing and because of my personal choices, that is really great. It's a Columbia, the original Broadway cast recording. King Arthur, Richard Burton, and Queen Guinevere, Julie Andrews, with their court in the great hall at Camelot. Camelot? Okay, next up will be Contenders.